One, two, three, hey!
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Talent Pool episode 6, which is crazy because I feel like it was just the other day that we came up with the idea for this. This is where we get the chance to meet people within my network and other people's networks and learn about who the person behind the resume is and then help them find their next dream job, which is super exciting. I will tell you that today is kind of a weird day because I'm working with the Share More Stories team. And so I have an audience. Say hello, everyone. So if I start laughing hysterically and like snorting uncontrollably, it's because they're making faces at me. They're back there going, but they're not going to be too horrible because we're going to take some time to meet another Da Vinci student, former student, and I'm so excited about this. Katie Dewald is joining us. I'm going to bring her out. Hey, Katie.
Hello.
So great to meet you and to have you on the show. We're so excited to have you here.
Yes, me too. I've been looking forward to this since I signed up.
Yay, that's awesome. Well, thankfully, Allison just kind of like keeps sending people my way, which I'm really excited about. And you like, I know that we're trying to find you like a real job, but I feel like that your dream job would be to just be the most interesting woman in the world, right? like the Dos
Oh my
Equis guy.
gosh. Yeah, I try.
So I would love to just like kind of dive in a little bit because you have one of the most interesting backgrounds of anybody that we've had on here. No offense to anybody else. Although if you say no offense, then you probably mean offense. So sorry, I love you all. But you kind of come from a really non-traditional background. Like you have you worked in an industry where I feel like if you asked people what is your dream job, one of the things that they would say is like, oh, I would love to work at Netflix.
Yes.
And you have done this, which is amazing.
I definitely got the like flashy, it was cool to have like the flashy job for a while where people would ask what I would do. Like I'd be at the dentist and they'd ask what I do and they'd be like, oh my God, we'll give you a discount on your night guard. Because you work for this show. I'm like, do you do the same thing for social workers?
Yeah, it feels like maybe teachers,
Right.
know, and
Exactly.
social workers should be getting that treatment. But I mean, like not a bad thing. So how did you land there though? Because that's kind of crazy.
I mean, I feel like it falls in line with how a lot of people end up anywhere. I met somebody somewhere. I recently graduated in the winter of 2017. And in that springtime, I was just trying to get myself out there and figure out, trying to get a job. I went to school for graphic design, but I did stuff with the Da Vinci program and I wanted to do something creative. But I wasn't getting hired and I was having a hard time. And so I was doing some volunteering at Art 180. I was doing an after school program and I was teaching something on digital design. And I just met somebody there who happened to be there. And we started talking about my struggle to find a job. And she said, well, have you ever thought about working in film? They have a lot of jobs in Richmond right now, and people are looking for PAs, production assistants. And so she put me in contact with the head of the props department, and he called me because he really liked my design background. He wanted to bring somebody on who could do some inside the department design work. And I got hired and started working on The Walking Dead within the next month.
Even I
And
know what
so
that is, and I'm like totally pop culture deficient. So I've never
well,
watched
it's
it
really
though
fun.
because it's scary, right? Like I don't
It
do scary
is, and
stuff.
it
Yeah.
was I will say it wasn't the main show, it was one of the sister shows, so they have The Walking Dead, and then they have and that was filmed in Atlanta, and then they
Okay.
have Fear of the Walking Dead and The Walking Dead World Beyond, which is what was filmed in Richmond. I did 2 seasons of that, and then I did some of Dope Sick here for Hulu with Michael Keaton, and then I did a Netflix job down in Wilmington,
Okay.
and so that's my resume for that.
That's so cool. I'm so glad that I didn't know that they were filming a scary thing here in Richmond because I would never have left the house. Like I've been trying, this is like the thing that's notorious in my house is I have been trying to watch Stranger Things since it came out, and I literally can't get through the first episode of the first season. Like there's like the thing in the elevator, the guy opens the elevator and walks in, and that's when I stop. I'm like, nope,
Is
nope.
it sci-fi specific or is it like all horror in general?
Anything scary. I don't
Okay.
do anything scary at all
Yeah.
whatsoever. So,
Well, I
um,
like your approach, your exposure therapy.
well, I'm very much like, yeah, if it's not teddy bears and rainbows, then that's not true. Actually, I love action, but like, I'm totally if you have something where everyone's getting like shot up and you have limbs cut off and stuff, I'm there for it 100%.
Yeah.
It's just the scariness factor
Right.
gets me.
Yeah.
So, very brave of you to work on anything
Yeah,
long.
you definitely got, like, desensitized because 'cause you'd
Yeah.
have the walkers come in and they'd be in full I mean, we'd have the makeup team from the main show, and they'd come in and you'd be like, "Ugh." Like, "This is a little gross."
No, so I'll have to pull it out. I have videos somewhere. I couple years ago went to like a one of those Halloween scary
Yes.
things, right? I forget what they're called because I blocked this out. And I literally spent the whole time I was there with who's now like my ex life partner. And the whole time I was like behind him and I was going like,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I'm not even very good at being scared because I was like, thought maybe if I charmed them, they wouldn't hurt me. And but it's not like this isn't a rational fear, but it feels like it, right? Because you go to
Right.
those things and nobody polices who's coming in.
Oh my
And
god, I know.
so I am the person who 100% would find the person who doesn't work there and has the real chainsaw and like slashes me.
Right.
That is what will happen. So I spent the whole time behind him and they would come up and they'd be like doing the scary thing. I'd be like, "You're so good at being scary. You should be promoted. I'll tell your manager. Just don't hurt
You're like, "Unionize, unionize."
you should get a raise. Like, if I skip you, will you leave me alone?" So I'm very, very bad at being scared. But okay, so you did that. This
Yes.
kind of like what everyone else thinks is this super amazing job, but for you, it wasn't a really great long-term fit.
Yeah, it's a notoriously abusive industry. I mean, I don't know if you had heard, I think this was when I was working on Echoes down in Wilmington. Um, we almost went on strike. Our union almost went on strike.
Oh,
And it was like everything came to a head. It was right after people were just getting back to work after COVID. And there were some safety regulations, like in the name of the pandemic, but that should have been in play all along because it's just we're working, if you're lucky, 15, 16-hour days, 5 to 6 days a week. Yeah. And so, I mean, I would be driving home at 4 in the morning, running on no sleep. People get in car accidents. You are worked so hard.
right.
And we almost
There's
went
no
on
point
strike.
in film.
Yeah. And it's contract work. So it's like I wanted to be able to plan for a car payment in a year, and you can't do that because I could work. I was really fortunate. I had some really busy years of work, but I could have gone without work for years. And
Right.
then, your health insurance comes into conversation if you don't work for X amount of time. And it's just there was a lot of stuff up in the air. And I
Right.
really did like the job. I was never bored. I was, like, almost the opposite of bored. I don't know how to say that with, like, a negative connotation. You're just, like it's just constantly
Right.
putting out
It's just
fires.
out, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Everything is timed down to the second. So it's like you're in fight or flight your whole day. and you're working crazy hours. I mean, I feel like I aged 10 years in those
Right.
3 years working, and I just thought, "I cannot see myself doing this for the rest of my life." Like, it's really fun, um, but I can't imagine right now I have the least responsibilities I'll ever have, and I still feel like I'm missing out on stuff, you
Right.
know? So
Yeah.
I figured I knew it wasn't gonna be the end all be all when it came to my career, and then when we didn't go on strike and I just didn't see the changes happening that needed to happen, I thought, now's the time. I'd rather get on top of it, move forward, set myself up for success in the future now than because it's easy. You wake up and it's 10 years later and you're like,
Right. What the fuck
this
did
is
I
all I
do?
know. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I've been running on nothing but caffeine and cortisol for the last decade,
Truly,
which is
truly.
really bad for your health, right? And your hairline and your
Yes.
and your ulcers, right?
Yeah.
My friend she has this amazing podcast called Speaking with Women, and she
Okay.
actually just posted today this idea of like, don't wait, right? Don't wait
Yeah.
until it's so bad that you all of a sudden are panicking and scrambling to find your next thing. Like,
Right.
go out today and start to make the changes that you need to make for the next stage of your journey. And so I loved that. And I also knew that you were coming on today and we're going to have this conversation. I feel like that really fits with what you decided to do at that point. So you are, going gray, and you're like
Yes.
looking at President
Actually,
Obama from like first day of being in office, and then last day 8 years later, it's like totally different, right?
yeah.
And so you decided to proactively make a change. What
Mhm.
did you like? First of all, how did that feel? Like, did it freak you out? Did you get positive, negative feedback from this is a fuck it bucket moment for you, right? You're like,
Yeah.
should I do this?
Well,
And
I
then
thought, yeah.
what did you do?
The way I viewed it was like, this is the epitome of a toxic relationship. It's like for 6 months, you are pushed to the extreme and you are so burned out by the end of your contract that for the next 3 months that you have off, you're just this hermit.
Right.
And but then at the end, you're like, I'm getting kind of bored. Like, maybe I should dive back into this. And so you can see how years could pass. And honestly, with talking to a lot of people in the industry, that's kind of what happened.
Right.
And so, I became really close with one of my coworkers. And she was like, I've been doing this for almost 10 years. And it's like, I don't even know where I would begin,
Right.
especially, you're trying to save money. You need to especially now trying to get a job, you don't know how long it's going to take. I've had to turn down jobs just to continue, like film jobs, um, and it's it's hard. And so you have to really like take a risk on yourself. Um, I think, yeah, I think I up until this point entering into like user centered design with this idea of like this is what I want to do, I never felt like I had an idea of my future that could be, you know, reachable and sustainable and set me up for the life that I wanted. I always knew that I wanted to do art stuff, but I was like, I'm not going to be an artist. I'm going to do film stuff, but I'm not going to stay in film. And then when I started to look into UX, I thought I could really do this. And so why don't I not put it off and, do the thing to get ahead of the game? I got a UX design certificate from Google, and I just thought this will give me an edge. And it's still been difficult, but I feel confident still moving forward with this. So it definitely was a leap of faith. I'm like betting on myself a good amount, but you got to.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you're going to bet on anyone, you might as well bet on yourself, right? That's you win either way.
Right.
Um, so that's amazing. So you decided to get this UX certification from Google, and now you are in a place where you're like, okay, I'm ready to take all of my experience in the film industry and all of my experience here and start to kind of meld that together into bringing something very special and unique to the table for your next employer.
Mhm.
Do you have a dream company you would want to work for, or like a dream job or industry?
I mean, kind of going back to how I got the film job to begin with, I thought I was gonna be a nonprofit girl, I thought that was gonna be my thing. Everything was gonna be mission-based, and then, you go without money for a certain amount of time, and you're like, "Maybe I should look into some options to set myself up." And so, I always think I'm gonna I talked to my dad about it. My dad worked for the EPA. He went to grad school, and he got a job offer from the CIA and the EPA, and he was like, "One would be really crazy money, and one would be," I mean, he grew up on the water, he would be working with mapping waterways, and he's like, "One is my passion job. It's less money, but, and he went with the EPA. And that always really inspired me, and I talked to him about it because when I got the film job, I thought, I'm making a lot of money, but this is an industry that just has a gross amount of money. And it's hard being someone who wanted to do mission-based work to see that kind of money just gone through. I mean, my partner's a teacher. I've lived with multiple social workers. It's hard to see their struggles and then me be like, I get lunch catered every day and just all this. So I think I want to end up back in a position where I'm doing mission-based work and things with equitable design, working on accessibility, but recognizing that I need to get my foot in the door. So especially this would be my first in the industry UX job if I were to get one. And so I would start just about anywhere. I have some standards, but I would start somewhere and then ideally work towards something with the environment. I worked with kids for a while. I would do something regarding kids or the education system. And I'm also very passionate about food and food quality, food scarcity, things like that. So luckily, not luckily, but all of those things can be intertwined as well.
Right.
And so finding a mission that I find that I'm passionate about, I think would be my dream goal down the line.
I love that. I love that. I mean, one of the things. Oh, live audience is over here, like
Thank you.
giving
Thank
the
you.
snaps. Yeah. This team is very, very mission based and always talks about leading with your heart. And I think that any company would be so lucky to have someone who brings that level of passion for making a positive impact in the world and in their space. But you haven't had a massive amount of luck actually even getting in and having conversations with some of these companies.
Yeah.
Do you is it just that there's kind of a scarcity of positions, or is it just really hard to get those conversations going?
I mean, a lot of people are getting laid off right now, but from my limited pocket view of my LinkedIn feed, people are saying that they're getting laid off, but then their companies are hiring for the position they just got laid off from. And so there are a lot of positions open. I mean, it's if I'm getting into tech, I mean, the limit does not exist kind of thing.
Right.
And so there are positions out there, but I mean, I have a Google Sheets document where I have the title of the company, the job that I applied for, the link, any information I have. I have tracked every job that I've applied for, and I have applied for almost 250 jobs. And I have heard back from 3 of them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
hiring managers, let's just take a second and get really, really real with
Yeah.
you. This is not. I feel like hiring managers and recruiters are having a really hard time balancing the user experience, and that is starting to come back and bite them in the ass, right?
Yes.
They're not good systems in place. So,
Yeah.
well, y'all, obviously Katie is fucking amazing. So let's band together. Katie, if you want to come in to this post afterwards and maybe in the comments put some of the companies on that list that you really, really were excited about, then let's see who in our network knows people there and maybe we can get you some conversations going there. But also, y'all, you have somebody here who's now in your network who you know about, who has a massive amount of talent, so much energy and passion for what she's doing, and fantastic experience, obviously the drive, grit, and gumption to go learn new things and figure out different ways to bring that to the world. So please, please, please support Katie, share this, tag her, connect with her, and introduce her to people in your network. It's so important. And my goal, my mission is to positively impact as many people on this platform as I possibly can by helping them find their next dream job. And Katie, I hope that you're the one that just like it all comes together for.
I hope so too. And I appreciate you doing this. I think this is such a, I mean, what you were talking about, the resume and then the person, it's hard being an entry level person and you want to talk to people, because I feel like that's where I make that connection and I can't.
Yeah.
I'm not able to get to that point. So this is, I think, an incredible opportunity. And I'm so thankful that Allison and I connected, so then I could have seen this post about this. I think it's a really great idea.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much. And like everyone, if you're looking for a job, or if you have tips and tricks on how to get a job, please, please, please slide into my DMs or sign up on the Calendly link that is in all of these posts. We'd love to have you on, and we love to help everyone we can. And Katie, I just know that you're going to land in the most amazing spot, and then we're going to get to follow your career trajectory this way.
Yes.
Like, which, I don't know where it's going.
They're both going up. They're
The
both
right direction, whatever it is. Awesome. All right, y'all. We will see you tomorrow. I think tomorrow's tips and tricks, and then Friday we have another guest. So thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.